The offices of an investment bank feel very tense because everyone knows that a lot of employees are about to lose their jobs. To everyone's surprise, Eric Dale, who has been the head of risk management for a long time, gets fired so that younger people can take his place. Before Eric leaves, he tries to warn his colleagues about a project he's been working on, but they ignore his concerns.
While packing up his things, Will Emerson, the person in charge of credit trading who gets to keep his job, comes to visit Eric. Will understands how Eric feels, and when asked who made the decision to fire Eric, he reveals that it was Sarah, which makes Eric feel even worse. Eric also tries to convince Will to take a look at his project, but Will refuses, saying it's not Eric's responsibility anymore.
As Eric says goodbye, his former colleagues Peter Sullivan and Seth Bregman express their sympathy. Peter, grateful for all the help Eric has given him, takes the opportunity to accept a USB drive containing Eric's project, with Eric warning him to be careful with it. As Eric leaves the building, he realizes his phone has been turned off, and when he sees Sarah, the person in charge of risk management, arriving, he insults her for putting him in this situation. Meanwhile, Sam Rogers, the leader on the floor, receives a distressing call from his vet, who tells him that his dog has a terminal tumor. Will checks on Sam and tells him that most of the people who were fired have already left. Sam gathers the remaining 33 employees and gives them an inspiring speech, encouraging them to see this as a great opportunity for personal growth. As night falls, all the employees, except for two, celebrate because they get to keep their jobs. Sam goes to see his sick dog, and Peter stays in the office to look at the files Eric left him. Even though the project is not finished, Peter manages to complete it and finds something very troubling. He tries to call Eric but realizes he doesn't have Eric's phone anymore. Instead, he calls Seth and urgently asks him to bring Will back because it's an emergency. When they arrive, Peter shows Will what he discovered. The mortgage-backed securities have become much riskier than they should be, and the resulting debt from these very risky assets will make the company go bankrupt. Will realizes how serious the situation is and tries to reach Eric at his home, but Eric's wife tells him that Eric hasn't come back yet.
Will is confident that he knows where Eric might be, so he spills the beans about Eric's go-to-bar to Peter and Seth, urging them to bring Eric there while he reaches out to his boss. Sam is less than thrilled about returning to the office at such a late hour, but curiosity gets the better of him when he discovers it's an emergency. The numbers flashing on the screen, predicting a gloomy future for the company, leave him dumbfounded, and he implores Will to fetch Peter back immediately.
Meanwhile, Peter and Seth have thrown in the towel on their search for Eric and opted for a bar outing, indulging in drinks and admiring the dancers. However, they hastily make their way back to the office as soon as Will rings them up, whisking them away to an impromptu meeting with Sarah, the head honcho Jared Cohen, and other top executives. Sarah does a thorough check of Peter's credentials to validate the reliability of his information and confidently informs Jared that although they plan to cross-examine the files, she can already vouch for their accuracy. A sense of panic sets in at two, as Jared desperately asks Sam how long it would take to clear everything from their books. Sam estimates it would take weeks, but regardless of the time frame, it would be a severe blow to the company's reputation.
Sarah chimes in, explaining that calculating the value of these assets would also consume a considerable amount of time. The higher-ups engage in a heated and intricate debate, resulting in Will, Peter, and Seth being politely ushered out of the room. Jared adamantly insists on selling everything, a notion that Sam deems utterly insane.
It's Sarah's persuasive powers that manage to convince Jared to grant her a solid 45 minutes to thoroughly analyze the information before jumping to hasty conclusions, recognizing that there are no quick fixes in sight. Meanwhile, Will, Peter, and Seth seek solace on the rooftop, indulging in a smoke break.
Amidst lighthearted banter about hypothetical jumps, Will muses on the chaotic state of affairs, confident that the higher-ups will somehow salvage the company, even if it means screwing over others to avoid financial losses. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted by the sudden arrival of a helicopter. The big shots have landed.
On the other hand, Sarah approaches Jared to reassure him of the reliability of the information, prompting Jared to place blame on her for not placing more trust in Eric. Subsequently, everyone gears up for another meeting, during which Jared imparts a piece of advice to the lower-level employees: brace yourselves for the ugliness ahead. Always speak the truth and avoid sugarcoating any facts.
The meeting is helmed by the firm's CEO John Tald, who has summoned the stockholders in the dead of night. Peter restates the problem at hand, leading Jared to propose a radical solution: sell everything that very night.
Sam explains that if they sell worthless assets through deceitful means, it will have terrible consequences. It will ruin the company's reputation, making it impossible to do business with those people again and causing long-term damage to the stock market. However, John, who only cares about the company's survival, doesn't seem to care about the fallout, since it's already 5 a.m. He gives everyone an hour to rest and find Eric before they start working on their plan. After that, John talks to Sam privately, asking for his support, but Sam is unsure. Meanwhile, Jared and Sarah have a conversation where Sarah warns Jared not to betray her with any strategy he chooses because she can bring him down too. Eric's wife calls the company to say that her husband is back home, but Eric refuses to talk to them. Sam sends Will and Seth to pick him up and tells them not to reveal their connection to John's team because it might scare Eric away. At the same time, John goes to Sarah's office and tells her that she will take the blame for the company's risky position and asks her to resign after they sell everything. Sarah reminds him that she warned both him and Jared about this before, but they ignored her. However, John insists that she has no authority to challenge him. Still, he promises to compensate her well. In the garage, while waiting for a car, Jared talks to Will and Seth and expresses concern about whether Sam will support the plan to sell. Jared wants reassurance from Will that he will step in if Sam doesn't cooperate, but Will avoids the question, believing that Sam will make the right choice. Soon after, Will and Seth reach Eric's house and explain the situation to him. They ask Eric to come back for just one day, but he refuses firmly. Suddenly, a mysterious car arrives with John's men, showing that they won't leave any loose ends. Will leaves Eric to talk to them and warns that if Eric rejects their offer, they will aggressively go after the benefits they promised. On the way back, Seth asks Will if he will lose his job, and Will confirms that he will. While Seth has some savings to support himself for a few months, he worries about what will happen to regular people once everything falls apart. Will scolds him, reminding him that in this ruthless business, focusing on regular people would be harmful. He emphasizes that although people get angry when mistakes happen, they generally live happy lives because of the work they do. In the bustling office, John approaches Sam, dangling an irresistible financial offer in front of him, hoping to win his support. However, Sam stands firm, unwavering in his dedication to the company's future. A little later, Peter nervously approaches Sam, anxious about the looming threat of being fired. Sam acknowledges the likelihood, recognizing that nobody is safe in the aftermath of this turbulent situation. Both Peter and Sam find themselves questioning the righteousness of their actions, yet the true purpose remains a mystery to them.
Meanwhile, in a bathroom filled with tension, Seth is overwhelmed by despair, tears streaming down his face as he contemplates his uncertain future. Unexpectedly, Jared enters the scene, but when Seth shares his fears and anxieties, Jared's indifference is palpable, leaving Seth feeling unheard. Battling the fear of losing valuable benefits, including healthcare, Eric reluctantly agrees to return to the company, if only for a single day.
He reunites with Sarah, who extends her apologies, assuring him that she did deliver his warning to Jared and John weeks ago, despite their dismissive response. As the moment arrives, the time to set the plan in motion is upon them. Under Jared's watchful gaze, Sam assembles his team, urgency in his voice as he directs them to sell everything before the day draws to a close. They comprehend the weight of their actions, jobs lost, careers potentially shattered. To fuel their determination, the company dangles an enticing incentive, a substantial bonus of $1.4 million for selling 93% of their individual assets. Moreover, if the entire team achieves a collective sale of 93%, each member earns an additional $1.3 million. Amidst it all, Sam takes a moment to apologize, acknowledging the unparalleled nature of this situation. Even for someone like him with decades of experience at the firm, he expresses profound pride in each team member, emphasizing the utilization of their talents for the greater good.
With unwavering resolve, the traders leap into action, engaging with anyone willing to participate in the transactions. However, as the sudden surge in sales arouses suspicion among their counterparts, the firm finds itself forced to sell at a significant loss. Nevertheless, they succeed in divesting themselves of the majority of the troublesome assets. Jared approaches Sam, extending his congratulations on a job well done, and promptly directs him to initiate the process of sending people home.
In a reassuring gesture, Jared assures Sam that his job is secure, thanks to his crucial support for the sale, as the higher-ups express satisfaction with the outcome.
Furious, Sam storms off to confront John, who appears unperturbed while calmly enjoying his lunch as if it were any ordinary workday. Sam expresses his strong desire to have his options released and to sever ties with the company, feeling utterly disillusioned after the recent chaotic turn of events. However, John insists that Sam remains by his side for the next 24 months, assuring him that he will then be granted his freedom.
Sam finds this insufficient to alleviate his troubled conscience, but John dismisses his guilt with a laugh, considering money to be nothing more than meaningless paper. Despite Sam's suspicions about the company's shady practices, He had struggled to acknowledge the truth. Reluctantly, Sam agrees to stay, motivated solely by his financial needs rather than an endorsement of John's ideologies. John expresses gratitude and delivers the news that not only will Peter retain his job, but he will also receive a well-deserved promotion. Later that night, Sam explains that this is the rightful resting place for his dog, and his ex-wife relents, allowing him to carry out his heartfelt act. Before parting ways, she informs Sam that their son's company faced significant losses, but managed to avoid bankruptcy, providing a glimmer of relief amid the prevailing challenges. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe Mango Recap for more video like this and help the channel grow.